Saying goodbye is always hard, but as long as the memory of what you're treasuring lives on, then their spirit will never truly go away. Let's all remember that going forward. Well, it's the end of an era. The Switch 2 is almost here and the hype is completely unreal. I'm super stoked to get that new system, but before that happens, I want to reminisce on the one we're saying goodbye to. The Nintendo Switch had such a phenomenal life. Released back in 2017, it picked up where the Wii U stumbled and became one of the best gaming systems ever. Between the immaculate design that allows for both home and portable play, the great controllers, and more, this was one of Nintendo's greatest hits. The hybrid home console and handheld was a phenomenon, and this extends to the game library. The Switch had an overabundance of simply phenomenal games, both new and old, and now I'm going to talk about my 10 favorites. The rules are as follows. The game must be a Switch exclusive, it cannot be a re-release, and only one game per franchise will be allowed, spin-offs included. So with all that done, let's talk about some fantastic games. Let's roll! The Switch's library has a ton of variety in what you can play. There's platformers, adventure games, RPGs, sports games, party games, and more. But what about something a bit different? What about some good old-fashioned tabletop games? Well, fortunately, there's that too. Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. This is a sequel to a DS game, and when the trailer dropped, I was immediately interested. There's a ton to see and play with this game, and most of the games are stuff I've recognized and enjoyed, and other stuff I didn't recognize look fun to play too. There's stuff like Moncala, Checkers, and Renegade that are fun to play with a friend, card games that are a blast to gamble on, mini sports that go for a fun toy theme, and some bonus puzzle games for a fun high score-based challenge. One thing I adore is the charming presentation. All the games are played in very homey environments, which really helps sell the whole package as a cozy collection of tabletop games. The tutorial's also presented in this cute way, with little figures mimicking friends and family. It helps that with so many games, there's going to be something for everyone, and it'll keep you coming back. Whether it's to play with friends, try something new, or improve your skills, this is a no-brainer of an inclusion in any casual Switch fan's library. I often find myself booting it up when I simply want to relax, or if I want a simple game to play with my brother or with friends. And sometimes, a chill and fun time is all you need. Something about Platinum Games is that they try and do something unique with each outing. While a core theme across their library is thrilling combat, they often have small things unique to each game. And the next game is one of their most unique ever, Astral Chain. This game is one part investigator and one part hack and slash. The combat is exactly what you'd expect from this studio. Big combos, lots of movement, and super satisfying results. The main draw here are your legions. You start off with a basic sword legion, but eventually you gain more, such as arrow for long-range sniping, arm which has slow strikes that pack a serious wallop, beast which is fast and aggressive, and axe which focuses on defense with a massive barrier. To get good at this combat system, you need to not only master your own combos, but also learn how to use your legions efficiently. You can use special sync attacks, and learning how to pull them off is key to succeed, especially during the boss fights. And when you're not fighting abominations, you're investigating crime scenes. You go around each area investigating the strange phenomenon happening, and trying to deduce what caused it and where it's coming from. These parts are simple for sure, but they're a nice breather. This is a good example of a game where two halves come together to make a greater whole. Both gameplay styles are fun in their own right, but how they're used in tandem with one another and the story truly elevates them both. If you haven't checked this game out yet, I cannot recommend it enough. Be chained down no longer. We all know Mario and we love him, but what about Wario? Of course we love him too, just for different reasons. I hope. Anyways, one of Wario's flagship series is WarioWare, and man did the Switch get a great entry. WarioWare Move It! Right when this game was revealed, I knew I'd just adore it. Its style and gameplay reminded me so much of Smooth Moves on the Wii, and that was one of my favorite games on that console. Interestingly, this game is basically a sequel to Smooth Moves and takes a lot of cues from that game. You hold the Joy-Cons in many different positions, or forms, and you have to move around to do the microgames. Just like with Smooth Moves, this is such a brilliant idea, and it works so well! The microgames take advantage of each form for clever, interesting, and downright hilarious microgames. It also tries new things, such as using buttons on the controllers for certain actions, or the IR camera for some interesting immersion. Granted, the latter is a bit finicky, but I admire the ambition. The single player is already a fun time, but the multiplayer is what really elevates this game. The The multiplayer game modes are so well thought out and wacky, it makes this game one of the best games to have at a party. You got a standard survival mode, Listen to the Doctor, which is just hilarious, and Galactic Conquest, which really puts your skills to the test, but also has its own twists and turns in there. You'll end up looking absolutely ridiculous when playing with friends, but it'll be worth it. Tell your friends, it's time to move it, move it! One of Nintendo's franchises that quietly but firmly ranks among their best is Pikmin. Debuting near the start of the GameCube's life, it spawned a quirky and really fun series of games that may not be for everyone, but it's still fantastic. After Pikmin 3, we all waited and waited for Pikmin 4 because we all knew it was coming. We ended up waiting for 10 years, but our patience finally paid off. Pikmin 4 graced the Switch and blew us all away. The structure is a bit different from other games in this series. Instead of going to the planet to recover parts, or treasure, or food, you're instead part of a rescue corps. This planet is apparently cursed to have all ships that even slightly enter its orbit have terrible accidents and crash, leaving folks stranded. And yeah, your team of trained professionals is apparently no different. So with nothing but your wits and the adorable Ochi by your side, you go find your team and also save everyone else stuck here. At its core, the Pikmin experience is the same, but there are several differences and additions. For one, you can't have 100 Pikmin with you out of the gate, and you'll need to collect Florix in order to increase your army size. This struck me as odd at first, but it's honestly a great means to ease you in. There's a lot more to do than in previous games, and this serves to naturally gatekeep you and also let you learn at a comfortable pace without risking your numbers too much. What's more, Ochi can perform tasks himself, so there's never a shortage of manpower. There's also the matter of the treasure scattered around. They're similar to Pikmin 2, but instead of being worth money, they're converted into Sparklium, which is fuel for your ship. With enough of the stuff, you can go to new areas. There's also raw material all over the place that can be collected and used in the shops for various upgrades and items, as well as in the areas for bridges and structures. And then there's the new Pikmin. Every type from the first 3 games is present and accounted for, but we also have 2 new types. In the returning caves, you can find Ice Pikmin. These can freeze water and enemies, but they're exclusive to the caves for the most part, so you need to be mindful with them. Then there's the Glow Pikmin. In the brand new Night missions, you find these adorable weirdos, and they help you in the tower defense style missions. You can also gain glow seeds from these missions, and can spawn glow Pikmin in caves if you need more troops. Everything this game does, it does beautifully. It's a full and rich experience that was absolutely worth the wait. Unlike Pikmin, Kirby is very much an icon of Nintendo. No matter who you ask, it's likely that everyone knows and loves Kirby. Most of his lineup are pure and simple 2D platformers full of imagination. However, it seemed like a 3D Kirby game was something Hal never wanted to pull the trigger on. Until Forgotten Land was revealed. When that trailer dropped, we were all surprised. The idea of a full-on Kirby game in 3D seemed like it was never going to happen, but here it was! And when it came out, it felt amazing. Another peaceful day in Dreamland is ruined by a massive portal in the sky, and everyone is sent to the Forgotten Land, a seemingly post-apocalyptic area. So after waking up on a beach Crash Bandicoot style, Kirby goes to find out what's going on. Sure, the story itself is really simple, but that's just fine. The charm of everything from the enemy design, to the Wall of D-Town, to the new friend Kirby finds in Elfland is what really drives everything forward. And this extends to the gameplay, because Forgotten Land really is just a standard Kirby game, but with an additional Z-axis. The copy abilities are back in full force, with staples like Sword and Fire, but also 2 new ones. There's Drill, that lets Kirby dig into the earth to find goodies and evade enemies. And then there's Ranger, which allows Kirby to use a gun! For how out there this idea is, it's put to fantastic use throughout the game. What's more, these abilities can be evolved with blueprints and rare stones you find to give the abilities brand new attributes. But Kirby also has one more trick up his sleeve. Mouthful Mode! He can inhale specific objects which distorts his squishy body and allows for entirely new powers. He can drive a car, attack with soda cans, glide through the air, and so much more. Kirby absolutely nailed his transition to 3D and made my favorite game in the series hands down. And with the update on the Switch 2, there's even more to look forward to. For a long time, I wasn't into the Metroid series. Sure, I was aware of it, but it took until 2014 for me to give it a go. And man, I don't know why I didn't get into it sooner. These games are full of thrilling action, wonderful area design, and satisfying gameplay loops. And the elusive white whale of the series for a long time was Metroid Dread. It was teased for well over 15 years with the occasional interview or report from a dev studio. And man, oh man, they cooked if they waited this long. Every Metroid fan collectively lost their minds at the reveal of Dread, and who can blame them? Metroid has this habit of releasing superb games before going on long hiatuses. We were starving, and Nintendo delivered. On another bounty hunting mission following Metroid Fusion, Samus lands on this new planet and not even 10 minutes later gets her butt royally handed to her. She was saved by some unknown power and landed deep in the cave systems of this planet, and now she has to find her way back to the ship. At regular points, you'll get in touch with the ship's computer Adam, who lets you know what's going on and what lies ahead. I won't go into everything as this story is best experienced without spoilers, so let's get into gameplay. It's a 2D Metroid game with a lot of the bells and whistles from Samus Returns on the 3DS, namely the free aim and the melee counter. New to this game is the slide. Taking a page from Mega Man, Samus can do a quick slide to duck under low ceilings and also dodge enemies. It's a great addition as it allows this game to keep up a frenetic pace, and I love it. As for the abilities you naturally lost because this is a Metroid game, you find the usual Chozo statues, but there's also the Emmy drones. These robots were sent to the planet to investigate it, but now they want to investigate Samus's innards. Going through these Emmy areas are some of the most tense moments ever put into a Nintendo game. You have to constantly be alert of where the drone is at all times, because otherwise you're gonna die real fast. After blasting each one to Kingdom Come, you can regain an ability that they were mimicking. And there's the returning Aeon abilities that let Samus do incredible things like go invisible or blink to move quickly. Seriously, between the series formula that this game dang near perfected and all the new additions, I think this is probably my favorite game in the whole series. But will the upcoming Prime 4 take that title? Well, we'll have to wait and see. The first experience that I and many others have with the Nintendo Switch was Breath of the Wild. Simultaneously a leap forward and return to roots for this series, it really set the precedent for the kind of games Nintendo wanted to make for this console. Then about 6 years later, we got a sequel. And yeah, Tears of the Kingdom needs absolutely no introduction. This is one of the most immaculately constructed games I've ever played. The structure is pretty much identical to Breath of the Wild, but there were some tweaks and new additions. First, instead of runes, you can now use functions of your new arm, which allows you to move objects around, rewind time on objects, ascend to structures above you, and most importantly, fuse objects together. This mechanic is what makes this game what it is. You can fuse any objects to other objects for incredible results. You can make new weapons, means to defend yourself, or structures for transport or combat. I've done things like attaching monster parts and gems to weapons for added power and effects, and making vehicles to help get around the massive overworld. And speaking of that overworld, there are 3 parts to it. There's the standard surface, the sky, where looking down isn't advised, and the depths, where it's dark, dangerous, and full of gloom that eats at your health. Exploring these areas for collectibles, shrines, or just for the heck of it is so much fun. You never really know what to expect when you're running around, and that's the best part. With all the ways you can travel, approach challenges, and creatively solve puzzles, there's a seemingly infinite amount of ways to play this game. And no matter how many times I come back to it, I'm always finding something new and exciting. While I'd love to see some more traditional Zelda games on the Switch too, I'm still content to play this game for years to come. There's a selection of Switch games that are considered essentials by many. Games like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Breath of the Wild, and Mario Maker 2 are games that most people can agree should be in pretty much everyone's Switch library for one reason or another. And for my number 3 spot, I'm talking about the pinnacle of this. Of course, it's Smash Ultimate. With every Nintendo console since the Nintendo 64, Smash Bros. Has been one of the biggest game releases, and the Switch was absolutely no different. With the absolute largest roster in the series, including every character that's been playable up to this point, everyone is here. And then the DLC added so many more like Joker, Sephiroth, and Sora, and made this one of the most robust fighting game rosters ever conceived. From a gameplay standpoint, it's certainly a Smash Bros. While I could pretend to understand the intricacies of this game, such as frame data and end lag and such, I am a filthy casual and I prefer to play this game like an absolute moron. Whenever I get groups of friends together for this, whether it be in person or online, we always love just jumping in and having a blast. Especially when everyone chooses a random character. With a roster this big, anything can happen. Some of my personal favorites are Lucario, Joker, Shulk, and Sora. Then there's the single player content. There's typical classic and side modes like that, but the big new one is World of Light. This is a huge adventure mode with so many event challenges to conquer, spirits to obtain, and fighters to save. I love all the different conditions you're forced into, and while it does overstay its welcome by a bit at the end, it's still really fun. I honestly don't know where the series can go from this point. This truly is the ultimate Smash Bros. Game, and I don't think I'll ever stop playing and loving it. Due to my restrictions for this list, picking just a single Mario game was hard. Being Nintendo's golden child, he obviously has the most weight of any Nintendo system. I could have gone with Super Mario Maker 2, Mario Odyssey, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Super Mario Party Jamboree, and so many others. This right here was a tall order. But after sitting down and taking a moment to breathe, I came to realize something. Sparks of Hope is truly in a league of its own for me. The sequel to the out-of-nowhere crossover between Mario and the Rabbids of all things, Mario & Rabbids Sparks of Hope is one of the most finely crafted games I've ever played on Switch. It took the gameplay that Kingdom Battle laid out and refined it to the nth degree into one of the greatest tactical RPGs ever. Sure, at its core it's just a tactical RPG like XCOM, but it's everything around it that truly helps elevate it this high. First of all, there is just a ton of personality and charm. As you're flying through the cosmos and shooting guns, your allies and enemies alike are just so full of life that makes each area and encounter very memorable. From the oceans and caves of Beacon Beach, to the frigid pristine peaks, the beautiful and chilling Palette Prime, and so much more, the presentation is just phenomenal. And this goes for the gameplay too. Each character on your team has their own traits and weapon that gives each of them their own distinct niche in combat. You have Mario, who's a great all-rounder, Rabbit Mario that excels in dealing damage close up, Peach's defensive traits, and just punishing on clustered enemies, and so much more. No matter what you're fighting, there's always strategy to think about and something you can do to even the odds. This extends to different encounters you can have with different conditions. In one you could be defeating all the enemies, another might task you to reach the end, and the next might have you survive against an onslaught. Between all the characters and the skill tree allowing you to build traits how you want, there's never a dull moment in this game. And then they added DLC campaigns to bring the value up even more. Heck, they even brought in Rayman out of nowhere, and that's worth celebrating. Of all the Mario games I played on Switch, Sparks of Hope truly went above and beyond. But one game still soars higher. This number 1 should come as absolutely no surprise to anyone who watches me. I've gone on record repeatedly saying how much I adore this series and how much it means to me. And with the Switch entry being one of the most interesting and fun games to ever grace that series, well, it's no surprise that Pokemon Violet tops this list. Man, when this game was announced, I was stoked beyond words. Don't get me wrong, Sword was good, but this felt like the next big step for the series. Galar dabbled in having an open world in the wild area, but Paldea goes all out. This large and sprawling region is full of Pokemon to meet, areas to see, and challenges to overcome, and you can do it all in any way you want. With a powerful sandwich-loving bike dragon by your side, this region is your oyster, and it's up to you to make this adventure all your own. You can tackle the gym challenge that you'd expect from this series, take on the interesting teams Star and their various leaders, and go after the massive titans that certainly live up to the moniker. Each of these routes provides their own means of challenge, but what helps each of them stand out is the story tied to them. The character lineup in this game is easily one of the strongest the series has ever seen, and the way they're using the routes to encourage you and also keep you invested is truly exceptional. And of course, there's a ton of amazing new Pokemon to see. This generation brought in some of the coolest and best new Pokemon the series has ever seen. Whether it's the new phases or evolutions for older Pokemon, there are barely any flops if there are even any at all. From Clodsire to Ceruledge and my best friend Miraidon, I just adore this roster. Heck, I've already done a video on my favorites from this gen, and I gushed hard about my favorites there. And man, just when you think you're done, it's not over. The DLC campaigns bring you to entirely new areas with new and enriching stories and even more new Pokemon, both new and old, to see. Pokemon Violet gave me one of the best experiences a Pokemon game, or heck, a video game in general, ever gave me. This is what the series is all about for me, and I'm so glad that one of the best Pokemon experiences for me is on one of the greatest video game systems ever made. I'm Arrow Dragon, and I'm super stoked for the Switch 2! And that's a wrap for this video, and I'm so glad I could see the Switch off with this much enthusiasm. It had a phenomenal run, but now it's time to pass the torch. I'll definitely be enjoying my time with it, so videos will take a short break, but I'll still be streaming over on Twitch, so please drop a follow if you haven't already, and be sure to check out my Discord if you want to come chat with me or my friends. Well, until next time, this is Arrow Dragon, signing off.